Hi there, I'm Vicki Parfino from Aussie Stampers. Welcome back to my channel and to my sneak peek from the Stampin' Up 2018 to 2019 annual catalogue. So these are the cards that I have cased from the catalogue, and these are cards 8 and 9 that I'll be showing you in this video. I really hope you enjoy them. Now, technically speaking, this first card is cased from the catalogue, and the second card is cased from Shelley Gardner. So two cards, 8 and 9. I hope you're enjoying this whole week of sneak peeks. If you haven't seen the other videos, I'm going to link them at the end of this, but I have a week's worth of sneak peeks from the catalogue. I'm excited about it, so I'm hoping you're going to really enjoy seeing these and getting an idea of some of the new designs that are around. Okay, so getting onto the card, I'm using Marbled as my stamp for this one. I'm using basic grey ink, Coastal Cabana cardstock, and a marker. Now you might be saying to me, well, Coastal Cabana was retired. Yes, it was, but it's made a resurgence. It's come back. This is one of the returning colours. So I have a card base here, which is a regular card base, and then I've cut a smaller piece to layer on the top. And I have two pieces that are going to go on top of my layering piece. I have a piece of Whisper White, which I'm going to stamp on, which I've cut to 2 inches square, or in centimetres, 5 centimetres square. And a piece of vellum that I have cut to 6.5 centimetres square, or 2.5. And I have some ribbon, which is about 6 inches or about 15 centimetres in length. Now the ribbon is grey because I'm using the grey ink, so I've got this beautiful silver. Now I'm using a couple of other stamp sets, Timeless Textures. I'm going to use this stamp here to create something very similar to what's in the catalogue. And I'm using a greeting, and it doesn't really matter what greeting you use. It's just basically something that's going to fit well on that square. And I'm just using That Was Awesome from Fabulous Flamingo, which is another stamp set that's carrying over. And it's bigger than what you see on the cover there, so it's about that size. And that's going to fit nicely on my square, which is why I've chosen it. And I'm going to start with the stamping of the top layer. So for this, I'm bringing in some white paper, just printer paper to protect my work surface, or you could use a grid mat or whatever you have to protect your surface. And I'm going to ink up my background stamp, which is Marbled. Get it nice and inky. And it's one of those stamps, it doesn't really matter if it's not 100% straight when you stamp it. So I'm just going to plonk it on where I think it's going to fit, like that. It's much bigger than the layering piece, so it doesn't matter if there's a little bit comes off the edges. You'll see what I mean. And I'm going to layer that onto my card piece with some Tombow multi-adhesive. So I have that layered up now, and I'm going to stamp onto my white piece, and then I'm going to stamp my greeting with my basic grey ink. So you can see I've stamped my piece from the Timeless Textures on as an underneath colour, and I've used the basic grey to stamp my greeting, which is That Was Awesome. And I'm going to take that piece of vellum, and I want to adhere the vellum to the card right about here. So I'm going to adhere the glue dots where if I layer this over the top, they won't show through, but it will still attach this to the base. So a couple of glue dots towards the centre. You just need to be aware that this could spoil the card if you can see the adhesive underneath it. So this is going to be layered on, and before I do that, I'm going to layer my ribbon. So my ribbon, I want to flag a little bit like this. In the catalogue, it's not showing through the top, it's just like that. Now I'll do it just like the catalogue for you. That is, after all, what you came here to see, right? You want your sneak peeks. So I'll cut a bit more off that. So I'm going to cut it down a bit. So let's see the new measurements for you. That's cut down to 14 centimetres or 5.5 inches. And that's going to look really good. Okay, so I need to adhere the ribbon. For that, I'm just going to use some more glue dots. Glue dots are really good for adhering ribbon and twine and all sorts of things. I really do like using them. This one to here. So this is a pretty fast card and it's easy to put together. Now all that I need to do is add some dimension to the top. So I'm going to take some of these dimensional foam pieces. That's a lot. Maybe you don't need that many. That's really a lot for me. I normally would put one right in the middle, but okay. I think you can probably get away with one, but we'll do it with 4. I'll leave that up to you guys to decide. Yeah. I hope you're enjoying this series of videos. This is card number 8. Cards number 8 and 9 that I'm doing in this video today, and they've all been sneak peeks. It's exciting, isn't it? And cases from the catalogue and cases from Shelley Gardner. I'm going to do a Shelley Gardner case next. And this is a great way to get you all inspired, I hope. I'm really inspired. I'm really excited about getting into the new catalogue and using all the new stuff. I have some embellishments here that I just got out of my stash. Just use whatever you have. In the catalogue, it has some beautiful sequins and it has some slightly different colours in it. But I like the idea of just using up the things that I have already, and I'm going to give you something that approximates it as closely as I possibly can. So I'm just going to pop these on my card. I'm going to put 3 on. Let's just see how they go. And there's one right in the corner there. Oh, that's really cute, putting that just on the edge of the vellum. And they're a little bit too much in a straight line for me. I'm going to move those. Move one further out. I don't like that one there. Or maybe this one. Oh, they're really grabbing. Yeah, let's move it further away that way. So it's got a little bit more. Oh, I like that. That's better. You like that better? I like that better. Okay. So there's the first one done. Really cute. Really subtle, really soft. And I like it. Very pretty. Okay, now for Shelley Gardner's case. So we're going to case from Shelley Gardner. I saw this at the onstage event, so I'm going to show you what she was doing with this stamp set and how she was using it. So for the next card, this is a case from a technique that Shelley Gardner showed at Onstage Live, and I'll give you the measurements for this. I'm going to use a piece of black cardstock. I'm actually making a card out of the technique that she showed. So I have a regular size card base in black. I have 2 layering pieces, so I'm going to have the gold shimmer paper as a layering piece and some white, whisper white over the top of that to layer over the top of the gold shimmer, like so. I'll give you the measurements for the gold. 5.5 inches by 3 3/4 inches, and that is in centimetres. It is 14 centimetres by 9.7 centimetres, and the white layering piece measures 13.3 centimetres by 9 centimetres. I'll give you that in inches. It is 5 1/4 inches by 3.5 inches. And this is how this is going to get put together. So this is a really different technique. I also have a gold Winkostella pen. Now these have been retired in the new catalogue. They're available in the current catalogue, I do believe, I think. Anyway, I got mine not long ago, so yes. So we're going to use the marbled stamp set, and I'm going to stamp in Tuxedo Memento black ink, and I am immediately going to emboss in clear embossing powder and have my heat gun heating up ready to go for this project so that I can get it done super, super fast. So all I'm going to do is have my heat gun ready. I'm turning that on now. I'm going to also be using the Celebrate You Thinlits dies and some fine tip glue. So let's do the first part of the project. First thing, you're going to wipe anything off with your embossing buddy, and then you're going to bring in your stamp, which is the marbled stamp, and you're going to stamp on that, and immediately I'm going to have this ready to dump immediately over my stamp once I've inked it up. So you have to work fast with this. All right, so I have stamped my image and immediately dumped clear embossing powder all over the top of it. I've since put it back in the jar. I had my heat gun ready, so it was heating up, and I was able to emboss it straight away. You have to work fast because I didn't use any Versamark on this. I just went from plain black ink to clear embossing powder. Now there's a lot of shine on this. Can you see that? That's starting to show up, isn't it? You can see the shine that's showing up on that. I absolutely love how this turned out. And I'll just put the lid back on here so I don't get any more ink on me. I've got a little bit, sorry about that. I want to show you the technique that Shelley showed us for using the gold Winkostella pen. So all you do with this, because it's embossed, you can draw lines along it, and the gold doesn't absorb into the paper on the parts that have been embossed. And all I'm going to do is just, you know, wavy lines. It doesn't have to follow the pattern at all. I'd like to go around the outside of those really wobbly bits there, but you can see this is going to sit on top of the paper because the black embossing is sitting on top. I'm going to go over all those thick lines. I'm not going to cover the whole thing up. I want some to be plain and some to be covered in the gold. And just working my way around it like that. With this stamp, the lines tend to all go from side to side and a little bit downwards, but you don't want any cross hatching on this because that won't look right. Does that make sense? Okay, and you can see that the gold actually sits right on top where the embossing is. It's a really cool technique. So on the really dark black pieces, I'm just going to go over and add more Winkostella to those pieces. So there are no solid black pieces, that all the black is covered in Winkostella. It's pretty nice. It's a really different look. And what Shelley did was she then punched this out and used this on smaller cards. I'm going to make a complete card with it, just for something different. You can see how the colour isn't absorbing into the paper. It's just sitting right on top. So you do get that luscious gold look. If I show you, you can see it doesn't dry all the way into the paper. It sits on the top of that embossing, and it gives a really dimensional look. Now I'm going to dry that off with my heat tool and come back and we'll start layering. So now to layer up our card base, I have taken the Celebrate You Thinlits dies and I've cut out the word celebrate with some plain black cardstock, which I'm going to put over the top and put our layers on next. So a bit of Tombow multi-adhesive to adhere the gold glimmer paper. With the gold glimmer paper, one of the rules of thumb I like to use is a little bit goes a long way. Now there's a lot of glimmer here, so if you were to make a card front that looked just like that, it's really going to be a bit hectic. It's way too much. So what I like to do is use it as layering, or cut something out quite small with it, a tiny punch or a small colour. You'll see what I mean. When I bring this over the top, there's only a tiny part peeking out and it looks really subtle. See how subtle that's now become. So it's there, but it's subtle around the edges, and it ties in beautifully with the gold Winkostella pen. Now I want to adhere this layer, and the best way to adhere this is with some dimensionals, because it can be tricky to adhere things to this. So I'm going to bring in my foam squares, or my foam dimensional dots, one in the middle, one at each end. Just press them and that will help lift them off the top. And this is really pretty spectacular because you're getting the gold on gold on gold. It's really glittery, really pretty. Can you see how the gold is sitting on top of the embossed areas? And now all I need to do is adhere the Celebrate. So I'm going to use my fine tip glue pen for this. And you just need to put quite a few little dots on this one, so that it will adhere to the embossed areas, because they'll be quite shiny. And just give it a minute to adhere and dry. And look at the bling. So you've got the gold glimmer paper underneath, you've got the black, you've got the marbled, and then you've got the embossed stamp where I've layered the gold Winkostella pen on top of the black. And it just gives this spectacular effect. It's really, really good. I wish you could see it in real life. It looks really, really amazing. I hope it's showing up well enough on camera. So there we have cards 8 and 9 from my sneak peek of the Stampin' Up 2018-2019 annual catalogue. I hope you enjoyed that series. I really enjoyed making it for you. So I'm going to bring all the cards in and show you the cards that have been in the sneak peeks. And if you haven't seen them and would like to go back and see how to make some more of them, I'll put a link to all of the videos for all of the cards that I've made at the end of this video. So there's my catalogue case. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you get to make some of these. This is just stunning, is it not? Oh, it's just really yummy. I love all these little tiny ones I did, and also the cards that I made using the waterfront stamp set that were in the catalogue. And yep, this little one which was in the catalogue as well. That was fun. I've also done a punch haul and a stamp haul as part of this series too, and it will all go into a playlist. Hope you enjoyed that, and I'll look forward to seeing you again next time. Bye for now.